They're calling it the silver tsunami. By 2030, 1 in 6 people on the planet will be over 60, and in countries like Japan, that number's already closer to 1 in 3. Yet here's what nobody tells you. The Japanese aren't just living longer, they're moving better, hurting less, and staying independent decades past what we consider normal in the West. The secret isn't expensive equipment or complicated rehab protocols. It's 6 simple movements, most done in under 90 seconds, that millions of Japanese elders have woven into their daily routine since childhood. These aren't yoga poses or Tai Chi forms. They're something quieter, older, and according to recent observations from longevity researchers, potentially more effective at preserving the exact physical capacities that determine whether you stay in your own home or end up needing full-time care. Before we go further, drop a comment right now with your age and where you're watching from. I want to know who's here and what's driving you to learn this. Now, I'm about to walk you through all 6 movements in the order Japanese elders typically practice them, morning and evening. Number 2 on this list is the one that Western physical therapists are now scrambling to understand, because it targets a reflex most of us didn't even know we were losing. But number 1, the movement that takes less than 60 seconds and requires nothing but a wall, is the single practice that researchers believe may explain why Japanese seniors fall at half the rate we do. And falling, as you probably know, is the leading cause of injury death in people over 65. So yes, we're going to get to that. But let's start where they start, with the movement that resets everything else. Movement number 6 is called Ashikubi Mawashi, which translates to ankle circling. But that translation misses the point. This isn't casual wiggling. It's a deliberate, slow rotation done in both directions. 20 circles each way, every single morning before your feet touch the floor. You're still lying in bed. You point your toes as far as they'll go, then flex them back toward your shin. And as you do that, you draw the biggest circle in the air you can manage. The goal is range, not speed. Why does this matter? Because your ankle is the foundation of every step you take, and after 60, the tendons and ligaments around that joint start to stiffen. When your ankle loses its ability to move in all directions, your knee compensates, then your hip, then your lower back. It's a cascade, and it starts the moment you stop asking your ankle to do what it was designed to do. Data from mobility clinics in Osaka suggests that people who maintain full ankle range into their 70s have significantly lower rates of knee replacement compared to age-matched peers who don't. Let me tell you about Margaret, 71, a retired postal worker from Ohio. She came to me after her doctor mentioned she was bone on bone in her left knee and should start thinking about surgery. I asked her to show me her ankles. She could barely move them. We didn't touch the knee. For 2 weeks, every morning and every night, she did Ashikubi Mawashi, 20 circles each direction, both feet. By week 3, she noticed her knee hurt less going downstairs. By week 8, she was walking 2 miles without the brace she'd worn for a year. The MRI didn't change, but her movement did, because the knee stopped having to do the ankle's job. Here's how you do it right. Lie on your back, legs extended. Lift one foot slightly off the bed, just enough so the ankle is free. Point your toes hard like you're reaching for the far wall. Now, keeping that point, draw a circle in the air as wide as you can. Go slow. 10 circles clockwise, 10 counterclockwise. Then flex your foot, toes toward your face, and repeat. Another 10 each way. Switch feet. The whole thing takes 90 seconds. If your ankle cracks or pops, that's old fluid moving. Don't stop. If you have severe arthritis or a recent injury, smaller circles are fine. Just keep the motion smooth. Do this every morning before you get up, every evening before bed. It's non-negotiable, but here's the kicker. Ankle circling only works if you pair it with the next movement. The one that wakes up a system most doctors forget exists. Movement number 5 is Hiza Nobashi, knee extension, but again, the English doesn't capture it. In Japan, this is done sitting on the edge of your bed or a firm chair, and it's not about strengthening your quadriceps, though that happens. It's about teaching your knee to lock without pain. You sit, feet flat on the floor, and you extend one leg straight out in front of you until the knee is completely straight. Hold for 3 seconds, then lower slowly. 10 reps per leg, twice a day. Sounds boring. It's not, because what you're doing is reminding your nervous system that full extension is safe. After 60, a lot of us start walking with a slight bend in the knee. We don't even know we're doing it. That chronic flexion shortens the hamstring, weakens the quad, and puts constant pressure on the kneecap. Over months, that pressure turns into pain, and pain turns into fear, and fear turns into, "I don't walk much anymore." Research from joint health centers in Tokyo found that people who performed daily knee extensions maintained quadriceps strength well into their 80s, while those who didn't showed measurable atrophy starting in their mid-60s. Atrophy means muscle loss, and in the leg, muscle loss means falling. You don't get a warning. One day, your leg just doesn't catch you. I worked with Robert, 68, a former electrician who loved hiking but had stopped because his knees couldn't take it anymore. He wasn't overweight. He didn't have arthritis. He just had weak quads and a habit of walking with bent knees. I had him do Hizanobashi every morning for 3 weeks, 10 reps per leg, sitting on his couch. No weights, no bands, just body weight extension and a 3-second hold. By week 4, he was back on the trail. By week 8, he did 6 miles with his grandson. No pain, no brace. He called it magic. It wasn't. It was just his quads remembering their job. Here's the exact protocol. Sit on a firm chair or the edge of your bed, feet flat, knees at 90 degrees. Lift your right foot off the ground and extend your leg straight out until the knee is locked. Don't hyperextend, just straight. Hold for 3 seconds, feeling the muscle on top of your thigh engage. Lower slowly, taking 3 seconds to bring your foot back to the floor. That's 1 rep. Do 10. Switch legs. If locking the knee hurts, only extend as far as comfortable, but try to go a little farther each day. If you have a Baker's cyst or swelling behind the knee, talk to your doctor first. Everyone else, do this twice a day, morning and evening, right after your ankle circles. It takes 2 minutes, and once your knees remember how to lock, you're ready for the movement that changes your balance forever. Movement number 4 is called Katashi stand, single leg standing, and this is where Japanese elders separate themselves from the rest of the world. The practice is simple. Stand on one leg, eyes open, for 60 seconds. Then switch. Do it twice a day, holding onto a counter or wall if you need to, and gradually let go as your balance improves. In Japan, this is as routine as brushing your teeth. In the West, almost no one does it, and that's why our fall rates are double theirs. Balance isn't something you're born with. It's a skill, and like any skill, it degrades if you don't practice it. After 60, the proprioceptors in your feet and ankles, the tiny sensors that tell your brain where your body is in space, start to fade. If you never challenge them, they go offline. And when they go offline, you fall. Studies from rehabilitation centers across Japan have shown that people who practice single-leg standing for just 1 minute per day maintain balance function comparable to individuals 10 years younger. 1 minute, that's the dose. But almost no one in the United States does it because no one tells us to. I'll tell you about Linda, 73, a retired teacher from Florida. She'd fallen twice in 6 months, once in her kitchen, once getting out of the car. No major injuries, but she was terrified. Her daughter wanted her to move into assisted living. I asked Linda to stand on one leg. She couldn't do it for 5 seconds, not even holding the counter. We started there. Every morning, after her ankle circles and knee extensions, she stood at her kitchen sink, hands on the edge, and lifted her right foot. 5 seconds. Then the left. 5 seconds. Every day, she tried to add 1 second. It took her 3 weeks to get to 30 seconds per leg. By week 8, she could do 60 seconds on each side, no hands. She hasn't fallen since. That was 14 months ago. Here's how you start. Stand next to a kitchen counter or a wall, something sturdy. Place your fingertips lightly on the surface for balance. Lift your right foot off the ground, just an inch or two, and bend the knee slightly so your foot is behind you. Keep your standing leg straight but not locked. Look straight ahead, not down. Hold for as long as you can, up to 60 seconds. If you wobble, that's normal. If you need to put your foot down, do it, then try again. Switch legs. Do this every morning and every evening. As you get stronger, use less finger pressure on the counter. Eventually, try it with no hands. If you have severe neuropathy or vertigo, keep one hand on the wall and just work on duration. The goal is 60 seconds per leg, twice a day. When you can do that, you've cut your fall risk in half, but standing on one leg only helps if your hips still move the way they're supposed to. Which brings us to the movement that physical therapists are finally starting to understand. Movement number 3 is koshi mawashi, hip circling, and this is the one that surprises people because we don't think about our hips until they hurt. In Japan, this movement is done standing, feet shoulder-width apart, hands on your hips, and you rotate your pelvis in a big, slow circle, like you're spinning a hula hoop. 10 circles clockwise, 10 counterclockwise. It looks silly. It's not. Your hip joint is a ball and socket, and it's designed to move in every direction. But after 60, especially if you sit a lot, the capsule around that joint starts to tighten. When your hip can't rotate, your lower back has to, and your lower back isn't built for rotation. That's how you get chronic back pain that doesn't show up on an MRI. It's not a disc problem. It's a hip problem. Orthopedic research from centers in Kyoto has noted that maintaining hip mobility into older age is strongly associated with lower rates of lumbar pain and better walking efficiency. People with stiff hips take shorter steps, which makes them slower and more unstable. People with mobile hips glide. I saw this with Paul, 67, a retired firefighter who'd been dealing with lower back pain for 3 years. He'd tried physical therapy, injections, even a chiropractor. Nothing worked. I watched him walk. His hips barely moved. I had him do koshi mawashi every morning for 2 weeks, 10 circles each direction. By day 10, his back pain was 50% better. By day 20, it was gone. He couldn't believe it. I could. His back had been compensating for hips that forgot how to rotate. Here's the exact method. Stand with your feet shoulder-width apart, knees slightly bent, hands on your hips. Keep your upper body still and move only your pelvis, pushing it forward, then to the right, then back, then to the left, making the biggest circle you can. That's one rotation. Do 10 circles clockwise. Then reverse 10 circles counterclockwise. Go slow. If you feel a pinch in the front of your hip, make smaller circles and gradually increase the range. If you've had a hip replacement, check with your surgeon first, but most people are cleared for this after 3 months. Do this every morning, right after your single leg stands. It takes 60 seconds and it might save you years of back pain. But hip mobility is only half the picture. The other half is something most Western doctors never mention. Movement number 2 is Fukushiki Kokyu, abdominal breathing. And this is the one that's making researchers rethink everything they thought they knew about aging and the nervous system. In Japan, this isn't exercise. It's a reset. You sit or lie down, place one hand on your chest and one on your belly, and you breathe in through your nose for 4 counts, letting only your belly rise. Your chest stays still. Then you breathe out through your mouth for 6 counts, pulling your belly button toward your spine. You do this for 2 minutes, twice a day, and what happens inside your body during those 2 minutes is remarkable. You're activating your parasympathetic nervous system, the part of your nervous system that controls rest, digestion, healing, and inflammation. Most people over 60 are locked in sympathetic dominance, which means their body thinks it's under constant threat. Heart rate stays elevated, blood pressure stays high, cortisol stays up, and inflammation becomes chronic. That chronic inflammation is what ages you. It stiffens your arteries, weakens your immune system, thins your bones, and shrinks your brain. Observations from longevity research in Okinawa have found that people who practice daily abdominal breathing show markers of lower systemic inflammation and better heart rate variability, a key indicator of nervous system health. 2 minutes, twice a day, that's the dose that seems to matter. I worked with Susan, 70, who came to me with high blood pressure, trouble sleeping, and constant anxiety. Her doctor wanted to increase her medication. I taught her Fukushiki Kokyu. Every morning, before she got out of bed, she did 2 minutes of abdominal breathing. Every evening before dinner, another 2 minutes. Within 10 days, she was sleeping through the night for the first time in a year. Within 3 weeks, her blood pressure dropped 12 points. Her doctor reduced her medication. She's been doing it every day for 8 months now, and she told me it's the only thing that makes her feel like her body is on her side. Here's how to do it right. Sit in a chair with your feet flat on the floor, or lie on your back with your knees bent. Place your right hand on your chest, left hand on your belly, just below your ribs. Close your eyes. Breathe in slowly through your nose for a count of 4, and as you do, let your belly push your left hand up. Your right hand on your chest should barely move. Pause for 1 second. Now, breathe out slowly through your mouth for a count of 6, pulling your belly button down toward your spine. Your left hand sinks. That's 1 breath. Do this for 2 minutes. If counting is hard, just make your exhale longer than your inhale. If you get dizzy, you're breathing too fast. Slow down. Do this every morning when you wake up and every evening before dinner. It's the simplest thing on this list, and for a lot of people it's the most powerful. But all of this, every movement we've covered, depends on one thing: whether or not you can get up off the floor. And that's what the final movement is about. Movement number 1 is tatami rise, floor sitting and standing. And this is the practice that researchers now believe is the single best predictor of longevity and independence in people over 60. In traditional Japanese homes, people sit on the floor to eat, to work, to relax. That means they get up and down from the floor dozens of times a day, and they do it without using their hands. In the West, most of us stopped sitting on the floor sometime in our 30s, and we lost the ability to get up without help. That loss is catastrophic. There's a test called the sitting-rising test, developed by Brazilian researchers and widely studied in Japan, that asks you to sit down on the floor and stand back up using as little support as possible. Your score is out of 10. You lose 1 point for every hand, knee, forearm, or side of your leg you use for support. People who score 8 or higher have a fraction of the mortality risk over the next 6 years compared to people who score 3 or lower. Think about that. Your ability to get off the floor without help is one of the strongest predictors of whether you'll be alive and independent 6 years from now. Why? Because getting up from the floor requires strength, balance, flexibility, and coordination. It requires your ankles to bend, your knees to extend, your hips to rotate, your core to stabilize, and your nervous system to integrate all of it in real time. If any one of those systems is weak, you can't do it. And if you can't do it, you're at massive risk for falls, fractures, immobility, and everything that follows. Let me tell you about George, 74, a retired mechanic who hadn't sat on the floor in 20 years. He could barely get out of a low chair without using his arms. I had him practice sitting down on the floor and standing up, using as much support as he needed at first. He started with a chair next to him, both hands on the seat, lowering himself to a kneeling position, then sitting, then reversing it to stand. Every day for 3 weeks he practiced. By week 4, he could sit and stand using only 1 hand on the chair. By week 8, no hands. He scored a 9 out of 10 on the sitting-rising test. His daughter cried when she saw him do it. He's been practicing it every day since, and he says it's the one thing that makes him feel like he's still strong. Here's the protocol. Find a clear space on the floor with a sturdy chair or countertop nearby. Start by lowering yourself to a kneeling position, using the chair for support if you need to. From kneeling, sit back onto your heels or cross your legs, whichever is more comfortable. Now, reverse the process. Rock forward onto your knees, place 1 foot flat on the floor in front of you, and push yourself up to standing. Use the chair for balance at first, but try to rely on your legs, not your arms. Do this once in the morning, once in the evening. As you get stronger, use less support. The ultimate goal is to sit and stand with no hands, but even if you never get there, the practice itself keeps every system in your body awake. If you have severe knee or hip arthritis, modify by only lowering part way, Or practice getting up from a low stool instead of the floor. But do something, because the day you can't get up off the floor is the day your independence starts to disappear. So here's the full sequence, the way Japanese elders do it. Every morning, before you get out of bed, ankle circles, 20 each direction, both feet. Sit on the edge of your bed, knee extensions, 10 reps per leg. Stand at the counter, single leg standing, 60 seconds per leg. Then hip circles, 10 each direction. Sit back down or lie down. Abdominal breathing, 2 minutes. Finally, once a day, practice getting down to the floor and back up. The entire routine takes less than 10 minutes. Do it again in the evening, minus the floor work. That's it. 6 movements. 10 minutes. Twice a day. This isn't a workout. It's maintenance. It's the difference between moving through your 70s and 80s with confidence and spending those years afraid of your own body. The Japanese figured this out generations ago. They built these movements into daily life, and the results speak for themselves. You don't need to move to Tokyo. You just need to move like they do. Which one of these 6 movements are you going to start tomorrow, and what's the one thing you're hoping it will change for you? Let me know in the comments.